How's everybody doing? Okay, today we are going to talk about Sagittarius and Aquarius. Now, somehow I have a feeling that I have done this combination before. Thank you so much. I have my friend from the other time, not Judy. This is Angie Pareda. Everybody can say hello.
Hello.
Again, so I think I did Aquarius and Sagittarius, but I'm going to check. I'm going to look at my log because I've been doing so many videos because I got to get this going. We have nope, I did not do it. So that's the one we're going to do today. Aquarius and Sagittarius. We have air and fire. Two elements that work together, that work in tandem. So this will fall under the category of compatibility of signs. Okay? The compatibility of signs. We have fire and air which work well together. We call that a sextile. Sharing of resources. And then we have the modality. We have a fixed Sagittarius, air, a fire. And you have, I'm sorry. Okay. We got mutable fire, right, as a modality. And we got fixed air. So that can work, as well as the sextile relationship between fire and air. Okay, so that makes it compatibility of sign. So technically, this combination should be able to work perfectly together. So now that we have put aside the preliminaries, let's discuss where we find this combination in nature. Okay, we discussed in the last series that Sagittarius is mutable fire. Where do we find mutable fire in nature? Well, the ring of fire on the earth, okay? In the Hawaiian Islands, when magma hits salt water, it creates an explosion. And then you have little islands that come up. And that is how continents are created. By the merging of magma colliding with the salt water, creating a reaction that then we have land masses. It is Mother Nature's way of giving birth to continents or islands, right? Fine. So, and we have described many combinations of this type. So now, what is another combination in which we can ascribe this to? We can ascribe it to the different spheres of the earth. You have the ozone layer, right? That you have the ionosphere, the mesosphere. All of those are different degrees of radiation encapsulated on the Earth's atmosphere. This fire comes from the sun. See, if the sun was to hit us directly without the ozone layer and all the other layers that surrounds our planet will be scorched. We will not have the oceans that we have because they evaporate. So the ionosphere, the stratosphere, the ozone layer are all barriers protecting the earth from the powerful rays of the sun, which is fire. And that is Sagittarius, a mutable fire sign. Leo, which is the sun, is the fixed fire. And of course, the burning supernovas and exploding stars that occur in space every single day in other star systems and constellations relates to Aries, the cardinal sign of the vernal equinox. So we can say that Aquarius represents the different stratospheres of our planet, which protects our planet from different types of radiations and electromagnetic waves that can hurt the plant life in our earth, as well as the minerals and the species and insects and eventually the animal kingdom in which we as humans belong to. Right? So understand that God created a wonderful and perfect system. That protection is Aquarius because it's air and it's fixed air. The ozone layer, even though it has weakened because of the pollutants that we as humans have put in our atmosphere through wars, chemical pesticides to somehow adulterate our crops, and God knows what else, garbage from space that eventually come down to the earth. All of this is protected by these higher spheres, which Aquarius represents. So far, we have not had any kind of disruption substantially of our atmosphere to a degree that it can do us in. Now we're facing more of a challenge and more of an imminence that this can actually happen in our lifetime. Okay? And it's interesting that we're entering the Aquarian age, which is an air sign, a fixed air. And we're talking about the stratospheres, which symbolizes Aquarius. And for the first time in the Earth's planetary history, we are in jeopardy of being annihilated or extinct due to irregular weather patterns because of the weakening of our ozone layers, which Aquarius symbolizes. Just a thought. Just a thought. So the protective area of the sun, of our planet, which symbolizes these spheres, will be Aquarius. So in this instance, in nature, Aquarius is acting as the protector. So what will be Sagittarius? We cannot use the sun because it's Leo. We need to find another attribute or correspondent that relates to Sagittarius, connected to nature. And that will be the heat within the earth itself. Not the core, the iron core of heat. That will be Leo. The earth has an inner sun, the molten core. That's the inner sun of the earth. And then there is an outer sun, which belongs to the solar system, which is the sun, which also correlates with Leo. Both inner sun and outer sun correlate with Leo. So we cannot use this reference to describe Sagittarius. We have to go there with mutable fire, which is the changing dynamics of the earth through the different seasons. Some seasons, you got winter, spring, summer, fall. Those changes of seasons is attributed to the fiery, mutable nature of Sagittarius. Okay, so we see here a harmony that's working together. If the temperature of the earth is not right, that can cause hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons on the other side of our planet. The tornadoes that go out of control and destroy destroy the planet. Natural disasters. Natural disasters belongs to Sagittarius, to Virgo, to Gemini, and to Sagittarius. What's the Pisces, the other mutable sign? These are the ones that can cause the earth to shake out of control, including adverse weather conditions that can plunge us into an ice age or bring us into a thermal heating vent that can exhaust the earth itself. So it can go either way. Now, the question becomes, how do we relate this analogy with the aspect of human personality and ego? And that's what we're going to discuss today, and correlate it to the aspect of the human psychology, of the human ego and personality. And we're going to begin discussing the female Sagittarius and the male Aquarius. First of all, relationships involving the male archer and the female water bearer will be a highly compatible one on two fronts. Okay, they both have high energy levels, a strong sense of freedom, and a positive view on life. They do. Sagittarius, psychologically, is a breath of fresh air. They are so positive. They're so, just fiery, their enthusiasm, both of the man and the woman Sagittarius, is contagious. It's infectious. Okay? So, with that kind of eternal optimism, because remember, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the king of the gods and the largest planet in our solar system. So, it is the great protector. But Aquarius is also a great protector. It is ruled by Uranus, which sits on its sideways. Very eccentric, very weird. Cosmologists, like I've said before, don't understand the cosmology, the morphology of that planet, and let alone what goes on in these places. Okay. So, but it lies out there in the outer reaches of space. So while Jupiter protects the Earth from incidentals that can creep through, Uranus protects our solar system on a larger scale. It's a much larger planet with a much larger pull. So that means that this relationship dynamic of protector will be a best description for this combination. The centaur, which, if you know in mythology, is also a protector, serves as a protector. So I think that when we relate this to a man and a woman, we can go in a couple of different directions. First, let's deal with well, I think it's better if I talk about the positives first, okay? Both are naturally sociable beings, and this will give them an instant connection as they both always are out there, okay? Searching for new experiences and ideas. This makes it easier for them to meet and to strike up conversations with each other. And once they start talking and once they start sharing, they can instantly hit it off, as the Sagittarian man has a thirst for knowledge, and the Aquarian woman, if we go with the Sagittarian man and the Aquarian woman, is known to be highly intellectual. In fact, dealing with the Aquarian woman, she will be at home with this man because he will be the right tall glass of water that she will need. Because in order to get to this woman's heart, you have to get to her through the intellect. Oh, trust me, this can have its faults, but it's too soon to talk about that right now. Let's just focus on the fact that nothing whets an Aquarian woman's appetite more than knowing that her man is so brilliantly smart that for her to be sexually aroused or entertained by him would not be that hard. It won't be hard. She'll love it. And the Sagittarian man will be more than happy. The Aquarian woman would be the marriage candidate type for the Sagittarian man. Think about it. The Sagittarian man don't like to be tied down. He don't want to have his freedom taken away from him. Neither does the Aquarian man or woman. The Aquarian woman is not going to put restrictions or put demands on the Sagittarian man. She's going to allow him to be himself. And that's what's going to win the Sagittarian man. The Aquarian woman will take the Sagittarian man, or any man for that matter, not just a Sagittarian man, as is. She'll fuck you, and then when she's tired of you, she'll leave you. And the Sagittarian man couldn't be more pleased with that arrangement. The Aquarian man, if we flip it, it's the same way too. We'll talk more in detail about that when we talk in part 2. To understand that the Aquarian woman will give the Sagittarian man free reign. It's not that the Aquarian woman is not capable of falling in love with a man like the Sagittarian man. It's that she already understands and knows that this man is not one to be tied down. It's not one where you could put demands on to commit and to stick to a particular type of commitment. The Sagittarian man is horrible for that. He'll commit if he wants to. And when he does, he can also give himself the right to get out of the relationship should he feel he has to. Not caring whether he affects that person emotionally. Because unfortunately, Sagittarians, as well as Aries and Leos, these are fiery masculine signs. They don't really care much about other people's emotions. The same thing with the air signs. Libra being the first, because it's cardinal. Okay, they're emotional people and they're feeling people, but they don't necessarily care about your feelings, especially if it gets in the way of the logic. And that can make them seem kind of ruthless. Gemini also is an extremely emotional air sign. And she also can be just as emotional as the Libra woman. But don't expect the Gemini woman to console you emotionally. If anything, she'll piss you off because she'll act like there's nothing wrong with you, or she'll make light of your emotional situation. Libra dismisses it. Gemini makes light of it. And Aquarius just won't deal with it at all. And that's why the air signs have this reputation of just being feelingless motherfuckers. No, you couldn't be further wrong. It's just that they're not really that invested in yours. And if they do, there's got to be a substantial reason. But trust me, there will be no reason on earth in which they will put emotion over intellect. Not going to happen with Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. So both of them can be very happy being together and then drifting apart or breaking apart and not even account or acknowledge their own feelings behind it. I don't know how genuine a relationship like that can be. But if both parties agree to it and both parties are in arrangement behind it, then who are we to say differently? The question becomes, what type of Aquarian woman or man are you? Not everyone is as stone cold as the archetypical generic suggestion of Aquarius and Sagittarius suggests. Because you always have that gray area. I've known Aquarians that are emotional and Sagittarius that are just as emotional. And it's a beautiful thing to see that kind of balance. It makes them more three-dimensional.
What?
You know, the emotional connection or exposition that should occur in a relationship between an Aquarius and a Sagittarius should be one of equal fondness, attraction, but also one where they can discuss their fears and their weaknesses and vulnerabilities. See, that is just as important, if not critical, for the sustainability of the relationship. You know, if one of them should become serious and develop a level of intimacy that can lead to total loss and abandonment and vulnerability, that would be a great thing. But that would be an exception rather than the rule concerning the Aquarian woman or man and the Sagittarian woman or man. Okay? There has to be a certain level of play and trial and error before these two people can truly become serious with each other. Because this combination of these two types will be the types to prolong the romantic relationship or honeymoon phase and do everything within their power to continue to make it stick, and fear that without it, there's nothing else to go by. Because, Sagittarian is passionate. It's really all about passion. The Aquarian woman needs that kind of passion because she lives in her head. She needs to be shaken to the core, dip it and do it, She needs that. And she's more than capable of delivering the goods, let me tell you. The opposite polarity is Leo, the sex symbol. Don't sleep on the Aquarian woman. You just have to figure her out. You getting a big bulge in between your legs is not going to impress her or turn her on. That bulge in between your legs as a man has to come from here. She needs to see that bulge first before she can ever be interested in your bulge below. Understand psychologically the needs of every woman that you date and that you're with. That's not to say that you don't have Aquarian women or even air types women that won't tear a nigga up with lust. There's always a piece of gradient of every spectrum of the human personality and archetype in all of us and in everybody. But if we're going to talk about generic representation of what could be, we have to then discuss this on a generic level. It's to be politically correct. Because I don't want to make it seem that these women are stiff. They're not. They're just not going to bend to your pleasures and to your definition of what sex is or sexuality should be. And that's what makes them so intriguing, mystifying, eccentric, and a little bit freaky. And who doesn't like a little freak every now and then? And both Sagittarius and Aquarius can be real freaky together. The question becomes which of the two will be able to sustain the relationship long enough that it can progress to something from the flesh and the superficial to something far more profound and meaningful. We know that they're both capable as very highly intellectual signs, but the question becomes, would they invest themselves emotionally in each other outside of their greatness of their individual minds? Can they? Would they? That's subject to question. That's something that even I can, as an astrologer, cannot even answer. It truly depends on the needs of each of them. But let me tell you, the needs of each of them is not that hard to figure out. One needs freedom, undiluted freedom, while the other needs intellectual stimulation far more than freedom. Freedom is a misnomer for the Sagittarian man. Because freedom for him can be freedom physically to go all over the world, or freedom of the mind to travel within the mind, because with the Sagittarian man, his travels are not just outward, they're also inward. There are many universes that the Sagittarian man or woman travel to that you wouldn't even dream exist. And this is the situation. And with right now, we'll have to do a part 2.